Hmm. Hey guys, how's it going? Trying to get this volume lower. This thing. It's a cool little channel. Music maker. Music maker. Uh, Individual from a channel called, or their artist called From Another Life. They post that in the chat. It's pretty chill stuff. I like it. Fun stuff. Like chill by my standard. All right. Good, good, good. But some things are working as required, necessary. Looks like I'm gonna have to lay off of Twitch for a bit because for whatever reason Twitch seems to be giving me a significant amount of problems. And to be honest, there's only ever like 2 or 3 people on it. Very rarely, maybe 4 or 5 on the Twitch side. So it's kind of pointless. And it doesn't. It used to make sense why I wanted to do it, but now it doesn't. If I make, I'd rather just be on YouTube without monetization and just kind of rely on stuff like Patreon or PayPal if anybody feels like it. It's just not worth it. Uh, all right. So, welcome. I did have an idea in mind about something I wanted to talk about, and this came up. Well, a couple of just quick updates. Looks like the ADHD med is working okay. Been noticing some attention changes, a little more focus at work, which is pretty nice. It's messed with the gut a little bit, but I found ways to counter that. So, just extra fiber, soluble fibers helping, and um, just occasional working out and stuff like that's helping with the gut and other things. Having some yogurt for breakfast. Um, what else? What else? That's about it. And the med side of the things, at least for myself. Uh, as far as gaming goes, I guess it's relevant to some of you. It took me a couple of days, but I got all the achievements for that's another um, game called Spooky's Haunted Man. No, it's Spooky's Mansion of Jump Scares. Spooky's Haunted Mansion of I don't know whatever it's called. I have these. I have this thing where I'll get like a hair up my ass about a certain dev or series, and then just go, okay, I'm gonna play all those games and get all the achievements for it. And it's more of like a weird like internal tribute to the thing. And right now I'm stuck on this dev called Kira, who did a few games like Spookies and Lost in Vivo and Lunacid and other stuff. And I really like their shit, and so I don't know, just something I get into for a bit, and then I'll move on to something else. Um, yeah, I don't know. So it's a thing. Okay, so today's topic that I wanted to go over was one that I think some of you might know what I'm talking about, and I was actually kind of curious about um, as well because okay, so one of the often discussed or expressed symptoms, or not symptoms, behaviors, traits that many autistic people have are this kind of difficulty with eye contact and or maybe like an aversion to it or some issue related to it. Now, I'm not autistic, but I consider myself to be on the other side of that coin, which is like an intuitively abstract thinker, um, where AKA I just like to call it schizospec. And but I have trouble with facial stuff too, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that. Let me see here. Yeah, okay. I'm just making sure something was working like it should. And some of that facial stuff is weird. I was talking to my psych. I kind of mentioned it last on Saturday, but I wanted to go more in depth. And I had noticed that whenever I speak to most people, um, I don't look at them. I don't. Why does it keep? Why do I keep getting notifications? Oh no! Sorry guys. Freaking Discord. Oh, it's not on streamer mode. Hold on. I have to like. Why is it not on streamer mode? Oh Lord Almighty! I'm getting a lot of pings. Hold on. Hilarious. Normally when I start streaming, it automatically goes on streamer mode, but for whatever reason it didn't this time, which mutes stuff like that. Alright, there we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Any case, yeah, I was talking to my psych about how I don't really look at people when I talk to them very much. And it's not because, like, oh, it feels weird to look at people, or, you know, stuff like that, or it makes me uncomfortable. Oh, their face, oh, their eyes, they're looking at me. You know, it's nothing like that, at least in my case. It's more, I don't intuitively see why I should have to, or why I need to. Like, it's just, it's not important for somebody to look at me when I talk to them, as long as, you know, just an audible acknowledgement of like, what's up, and then they're like, even if they're like doing something else and I'm asking questions or whatever, as long as they're responding, then I know they're listening. I don't need the eye contact. And usually when people ask me questions, I'm like searching my repertoire of thoughts for answers or whatever else, and my psych was telling me that generally when I'm speaking to her, I'm doing this kind of stuff, like looking this way, looking that way, and a lot of people do that. We were discussing how, like, you know, most humans do a little bit of that, especially when they're thinking about something or trying to come up with something, or trying to remember something, right? It's pretty common. But I seem to just do that, like, as like a default setting. Um, yeah, it's like a phone call in person. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like the way your face might look when you're on like a Discord call or a phone call having a conversation, and how you have like no face to look at, and so maybe your eyes just kind of look at random stuff. I do that even when someone's right in front of me. Um, and I had to like teach myself to not do that, because neurotypical people will find it like uncomfortable, or um, awkward, or they think you're not listening. And in my case, it's fair because I'm like inattentive ADHD. So if I'm not looking at you, there's absolutely no way to know whether I'm actually listening to you or not. So I kind of did it also as a reminder to myself to keep listening. But it's not because I intuitively like drift toward looking at someone's face while having a discussion. And I also noticed that I don't do it very much, even when I'm doing like conversations with people online. I don't think I do it. Maybe not even during those interviews. So those do feel a little more performative. So maybe I do look at people's faces when I'm doing the interviews and stuff. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I look away a lot, all over the place. And I was talking to my psych. I'm like, what? Why is that? Like, what's going on with that? And you know, she had mentioned, she's like, I wonder if that's something that a lot of schizoids do in general, or maybe you know, various kinds of neurodivergent people do more often than a neurotypical person. Um, and you know, that's what I was curious about. If that's something. Well, Trudy's saying their eyes wander constantly when it comes to that. I'm wondering what your guys' situation when it comes to looking at people's faces when having a conversation with them. Is it intuitive? Is it natural for you? It isn't for me. So I wanted to know how other people felt about that as well. But when I was discussing it, we were trying to get like suss out like, well, what is it? Why is that? And one of the things I had mentioned was that I don't like. I would try to look at her because we experimented. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to just look at you, and it's on like you know, it's telemedicine kind of stuff, right? So it's online, but we see each other on camera. It's like a requirement, and so I was like looking right at her, like, you know, eye contact in the video. I was looking right at her, so she was seeing me look like this, right? And I just realized something funny. Okay, anyway, so she uh she was seeing me like this, and I was trying to talk to her, and she was, you know, we were trying to do the session like normal, and I noticed that I couldn't think, like I had trouble articulating words and saying stuff like normal, and being as like, yeah, see, like I'm doing it right now, like even the thought. Anyway, so and so we tried it for a little bit, and for her it was awkward because she's like, I'm so used to you not looking at me when we talk that it's weird for you to look at me. And I'm like, yeah, I know, and it's weird to look at you. uh but I was saying that when I was looking at her face, all like it was like the information of like, it was almost like I was looking at her face and then just noticing all these like interesting little details about her face and what it reminded me of and what this was. And then I started like having thoughts about like, oh man, facial structures are so odd and all this sort of shit. And like, you know, like all these thoughts, tangential sort of thoughts about stuff regarding her face, uh, was getting in the way of me being able to like communicate some like the internal stuff. Is really, really odd. And I don't know how much of it has to do with the person is communicating with me specifically, or if I have trouble paying attention to visual elements when I'm having a conversation to begin with. Um, because it's not eyes or faces necessarily. Like if for some reason someone's talking, if someone else is talking, it's I'll still normally just be kind of looking away, thinking about what they're saying. But if, you know, I want to make it clear to the person that I'm listening, I'll look at them, and I can look at them, but and listen. But the moment it's my turn to talk, I start looking. I just look away, right? Um, yeah, yeah, and it's something I've been contemplating for the last couple of days since I saw them on Friday. It's just been something like just sort of jumbling around in my mind. Duck, not intuitive or natural. I'll do it if I think I need to, but I probably. Man, stupid YouTube. What's that? Stupid heart's in the way. Do a little emote thing. Useless little garbage emotes. Hold on. There we go. I'll do it if I think so, but I probably still seem weird about it. Maybe. Yeah, I've seen like online. I've seen like autists like sort of like keep eye contact because, you know, it's like it's just normal. But the way they do eye contact is like, I can tell that it's uh, very much not intuitive to do so. It's just kind of something they discipline themselves to do. One thing I've always done when I have to like look, like I feel like, oh, I better look at people because they're talking to me. I've been told I look through them. So sometimes like I'll just like they'll just kind of go out of focus. Like I'll just be staring and listening, and they literally like get out of focus. And I was trying it with my psych, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna look at you, but like I'm gonna let my eyes just kind of go out of focus. Once I did that, I was able to think easier, and less thoughts about face were in my head, and I was just able to talk. Um, and I was like laughing because I'm like, what? Why is it if you get all blurry and stuff, and like it looks like there's four of your face, and they're all like blurry because I'm just letting my eyes go out of focus. like that it's a lot easier to just continue on my introspective thoughts that I'm expressing to you as we speak. I'm wondering how much of it has to do with like a neurodivergency and how much of that has to do with schizoid specific stuff. Um, as in, like, you know, when you're constantly in the internal world, you're probably constantly, you're used to looking at nothing while you think. You're used to like just like your external world sort of blurring out as you think and you contemplate. And I don't know. I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. I wonder, it's like, is the way I do it? Uh, I guess what I'm trying to say is if there is the concrete autistic spectrum and there is an opposite to that, is it a trait that both these outliers, cognitive outliers, share? Right? That's what I'm wondering. Like, do schizo spec people find looking at people's faces while conversing a non-requirement as much as it is a non-requirement for autists, but perhaps for different reasons? I don't know. Because like I was, like I said, I was further conversing with the my psych, and she was saying, yeah, most people, they look at each other because they're trying to like pay attention to like facial cues and things, and interpret those, right? There's like all these interpersonal reasons for why people intuitively look at each other's faces when conversing. And then I was thinking about it more because in a lot of like manga, anime, and films or whatever that I watch, when there's two characters speaking together, usually there is this kind of like emphasis on the POV of their face, right? Like when they're conversing, they'll sometimes pan a shot of like the person's face looking and then the person's face speaking, and then like them noticing something about the person, what they're saying and stuff. And you know, I know that narratively, I understand how that works and I've seen it, but it's just funny that a lot of stuff that I understand regarding how characters communicate in various forms of media aren't things that I do um, in real life, but you know, I get told people do it all the time. Um, and I don't know. Uh, so if anybody in chat has anything to say about it, I'd appreciate it. I don't know if anybody's jumped on to. Oh yeah, I got a few here. Cool. Give me 1 second. Let me on mute. What is this? What is it doing? Sorry, this just thing's being a weirdo thing. Alright, that's why. Okay, it's because I'm stupid. There we go. Alright. There. Alright, hey guys, how's it going today?
Hi.
What is going on?
Oh.
So what are your thoughts on this matter? This whole like, because I know, I mean, Shadow, I don't know, like you're probably more on the autism side of eye contact diversion. I don't know what's your deal with eye contact?
I mean,
I don't
there's
have
a couple different tangents coming to this point. I didn't know. I know you're usually aversive to being, how do I word this? To being inquired upon, how you personally feel,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
experience-wise.
No, yeah, I don't mind being asked. I don't like when people try to like tell me what it is, especially if they're right, and then it's
Okay.
weird. Yeah, questions are fine.
Well, whatever. But one of the things that first came to mind was if it were to be a schizoid thing, that very sentiment that you showed could have been like a basis for I don't like looking at people's faces because okay, very big condition. Do you care about looking at people's faces if they don't notice you're looking at them?
That's actually a good question. I'm trying to think. Do I
Because
do I
if that
okay
answer is
during
sorry,
conversation? No, I just don't. Um, do I like people watch and have look at people's faces? Yes, I have no problem doing that. If they were looking right at me, chances are we're talking. I'm trying to figure out if it has more to do with the act of communication or the act of them seeing me. Um, I don't know that I have too much of an issue with people seeing me. I'm pretty indifferent to that. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have an answer to that quite yet.
because my first thing was, do you care about having eye contact because it's intense, or because it generally can mean someone would look at you and assume many different things
Mm.
about the way that you're functioning?
I could see that being the case in my 20s and younger, but not by the time my 30s hit. So I can imagine that used to be the case. Stupid ass phone.
Because when it comes to like an autistic perspective, I am very well aware of the intensity of holding someone's gaze,
Hmm.
but I generally am not too bothered by it. It's something that I can handle.
Mm.
It's what matters far more to me, like a reason why I don't usually have my face cam on now for streams. Well, now I'm just like doing a bunch of things, so they'll just be adding another thing on top of it. But it feels as though I have to lead a horse to water and make it drink when I want to communicate with someone.
Mm.
There's a whole neurodivergence aspect of the people I talk to misunderstand me innocently because the way that they communicate conflicts with the way I communicate. So a lot of my physical body language, they'll interpret something many oftentimes when there's not something I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So it's like I'll do something with my eyes or my mouth or my body that generally would mean something, or it could at least indicate an underlying something
But in your
for
case, it
someone
might not mean
else.
anything or have anything to do with the
But in my
conversation
case,
itself.
it just is. It doesn't mean anything. It's not even like an underlying anxiety or underlying like emotion that I'm not expressing.
Hmm.
It genuinely is a different language, right?
I mean,
So
I've had people like think I'm like, yeah, I've had that kind of situation where like my body language will make them feel that I'm like angry at them or something. Because I get like my hands, I get a lot of motion in my hand, and I'm like tapping things, and so like they think, oh, like they're getting upset or angry or something. Um,
yeah. So if you were to imagine maybe someone from the server in particular, or someone that you know closely, would you mind if you are very, like, if you could just completely understand and trust, like, not like consciously trust, but like it's a non issue of they won't assume something because they understand how you think and you believe that they understand how you think. Would that bother you as much to hold eye
like
contact?
no, well, no. I mean, I still wouldn't look at their face. That's the thing. Eye contact doesn't bother me. I just find it incredibly
Okay.
pointless and distracting. Um,
Well, now I'm differentiating if you're aversive to it
I'm not
or if
aversive
it's
to it
just
at
something you
all.
don't normally do.
No, I said this during I think my little monologue, but it's not an
Sorry,
aversion.
I'm pulled a couple different ways at the
No,
moment.
that's okay. But it's not an
Well, then
aversion.
it just sounds like ADHD.
Yeah, and but I'm wondering if it's just in a sense of ADHD, but or it's because I just like I literally don't understand why it's a requirement to do that.
Because the way I would understand it is looking at someone's face.
Oh,
Like there's something I was told by my
sorry.
mom.
I did that thing again. Okay, I do understand why it is. I personally cannot
Okay.
understand why I would do it. It's whenever I do that, you think I literally mean I don't understand why it is what it is.
Well, that's what you said.
Yeah, I know. It's just me being bad with words. No, I
Okay.
understand why human beings do it. I understand why it's important to them, and like intellectually I understand. I just I can't imagine that being a requirement for me. I don't understand why it would ever be as such. I think it's probably a better way to put it. I don't know, maybe. Wait, why am I all transparent? That's fun. And whatever. I wanted to give Saintus a chance here because I think they wanted to say something earlier. Saintus, what's up, man? What's up with you and eye contact?
Yeah, I was just saying I don't have any issue with eye contact or looking at people's faces, so I don't share your
Nope, no
experience.
problem at all.
No.
So you could just stare right into their eyes as you communicate?
Yeah.
Do you intuitively do it? Or do you usually look away? Because
I'd say I intuitively do it.
so it feels normal to just look at their face while you speak.
Yeah, you get information. You can get information from their face while you're talking.
Okay. All right. All right. Interesting. It is your how good is your radar information wise on that?
Based.
I feel like pretty good.
Pretty good. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, so
Okay.
I don't, I don't understand like people's emotions, but I can recognize them.
Do you care if someone's do you like would you say your face like you're staring or the looking at their eyes or their face is it does it would it look natural to the other person or would it look like you're studying them?
I'm not sure. That's an interesting question. I
Yeah,
feel like I
because
might do
because
more.
your reasons for it are so like specific, right? And data driven and information driven and not intuitive. Because that doesn't sound like it's intuitive. It sounds like you're doing it because it's like what's intuitive is to gather information, not necessarily to automatically feel like you want to look at people and you want people to look at you in the face when you're speaking. I don't know. That's what I'm picking up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I look away when I'm thinking. I usually look away.
yeah, is it? I'm always looking away, but then again, I'm always thinking. I'm overthinking maybe, but I'm just always thinking. So maybe that's the issue. I'm just thinking too much and not being present in the conversation. But I don't. Even when I'm very present in the conversation, I just don't understand why I have to. Like I do. I don't. I think I pay attention more to tone of voice and word usage than I do to facial expression. Maybe. I don't know. How about you, Withers? How you with looking at people's faces? Is it just? Do you need it? Is it some? Are you collecting information on their wants and needs? Are you doing it because it's a requirement, or does it just feel right to do it?
I didn't realize I was going to be on the hot seat, but
Well, I'm asking everybody that's in here.
gotcha. Yeah, I gotcha. I would just say
You don't have to answer, by the way, hot seat or not. You can just say,
yeah,
well,
I mean,
don't want
I hear,
to.
I hear. I mean, I don't think that I'm like. Also, I don't think I'm thinking about it while I'm doing it. Like some of these guys are like seem to be noticing what they're doing. I'm not super bad about like looking away or whatever have you. I remember my mom when I was super young kind of got me to go ahead and make eye contact a little bit more. But that's that was like when I was young, and nowadays, yeah, I'm pretty sure that I do about medium-ish eye contact. I would probably guesstimate in terms of just across the general population or whatever. As I wouldn't say I'm like staring at their eyeballs the whole time. I wouldn't say that I'm looking away a super lot either. So, yeah, you do gather information and all. Obviously, you see their emotions and you'll see their reactions and what have you to the things that you're saying, the thing that's going on around you, the flow of the conversation, the vibe, the yada yada, any music that's going on, on and on and on and on. There, you get a lot of information there from that. Not just their eyes, but their face, and so their eyes also, and whether or not they're looking away, are they looking away furtively or anything like that?
Yeah.
Are they making good eye contact with you? Are they trying to catch your eye? Are they sort of looking
No,
at
I
least
I get why. I understand all that. Like, I get why it exists and how it functions.
Oh, sorry, I was just giving some details about like what I
okay.
probably am
Wait,
gathering.
okay,
yeah,
you're talking about
yeah,
your experience.
so.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
we're talking
yeah.
about general.
No. Yeah, that's just stuff that I notice now, and I especially notice now. Obviously, we got all these guys on the internet telling you about all these things. Now I pick up on it even a little bit more than I would have before. I would have naturally picked up a little bit, but now I can tell, like, oh yeah, okay, clearly she's looking away, and facing her body away from me or whatever. She's not interested in whatever's going on. So you know that's happening, like near 100%.
I'm really
if
bad
that's
at
happening.
that.
So.
I'm really bad at
Yeah.
that.
Right. So
I'm really
I would have
bad at
been
like not noticing when someone is not interested in what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm also when I find out it's the case, I kind of don't care, and I just go, oh, okay.
Right.
And then I just move
you got
on.
that Zoid shit going on, probably.
Well, like, cause like I'll see that they don't care or that they're uninterested after a while, because like I'll notice when I'll open, like I'll leave an opening for I have a question or a response or a thought, and then I'll look at them and they stop, like they're disengaged, and then I'll go, and then I just go, oh, and then I just turn around, I'm like, all right, never mind, and then moving on.
Yeah. Moving on. There you go.
But it's if you really want someone to shut up, that's weird and rude. So gross about grown men that can't make eye contact. I can make eye contact. It's just not intuitive. I just don't care.
Is the question you're asking?
I wanted to know what other people's experiences were. If it was like just a me fucking thing, if it's a fucking schizo thing, if it's a neurodivergency thing that I'm doing, is it just an ADHD and attentive ADHD thing I'm doing, or it's just a me exclusive. So,
you kind of already knew that before you even asked the question.
No, I
didn't. Understood the reason. You understood the reasons why someone would want to do eye contact. Why?
But I'm not asking about why somebody would want. No, I'm asking if it's. I want to find out if it's something common amongst the people that listen to me, or the people I talk to, or whatever.
What was it that was common or not common?
Whether like just an overall issues with looking at people's faces when conversing with them. Whether the issues are aversion, which is not my case, but it is for a lot of autists, or the issue is indifference to wanting to look at all the things on their face.
It could be aversion for a lot of bit of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I run into the indifference a little bit, and I also run into the the indifference to whether or not they're all that interested in whatever the fuck I'm saying. Because a lot of times, and the only reason I say that is because, like, a lot of times it'll be something that's actually kind of important to whatever the fuck they're doing at that point in time or whatever, because they've come to me for some information or something, and I can clearly tell that they're not really grasping why what it is that I'm saying is going to be important for them, but I go ahead and tell them anyway, and even if it's a little bit long-winded, but sometimes I don't do it, sometimes I do, especially if it's super important for them, and at least some people really appreciate it, because it actually is super important to whatever the fuck it was that they were doing. So
yeah, I wonder though. Maybe I don't know, it feels so unnatural for me to do.
Yeah.
And I have to do it. Like I do it in real life. I do it because of the issues you're describing. Especially more like because people need that validation of I'm paying attention. Um, and I don't know. Am I just running under the assumption that somebody? Um, I don't know. It's weird. like maybe I'm just talking to vocalize internal thoughts, than to actually converse at times. I don't know.
Parallel monologuing.
Yeah, or something. Oh yeah, I remember that parallel monologues. That was like a
I bring it
funny.
up often.
Yeah. I remember I had brought that up a long ass time ago. I said that. Um, well, I don't know if that's
I
what you're
forget
referring
who,
to,
but
but I had brought it up like I
one
don't
of
know,
the
like
people
a
on the
year and a
server
half or
brought
a
it
year
up.
ago. Yeah, multiple people have probably brought it up at different times. But
Yeah,
I
it's
think it was
been
like
now it's a thing now.
yeah, like I think it was like 2.5 years ago. I don't remember, but it was I was in a VC with a bunch of Zoids of the time, and I noticed I was paying attention to the way everyone was talking to each other, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's like everyone's having a conversation with themselves, but with other people. It's like it's like they're talking to themselves, but other people involved in the process of you talking to yourself.
Yeah,
A lot of Zoid.
I've described it as like you're talking to the space in which you all existed.
Gotcha.
And it's like if you if you give out like a piece of information to the space kind of feels indifferent to whether or not to like any emotion that you have. How do I put this? It's like if you give out a piece of information to the space can't like respond to it in a way that's threatening because it can choose to ignore you, it can like choose to do nothing, or but it also cannot choose to like attack you for it because it's just a space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone in chat had earlier said that it was a form of control and detachment over the level of communication or something like that.
What do you mean?
Like that, it's if you don't look at someone's face, it's like a almost like a physical
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
material representation of the detachment like manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean also can
Well, I
make
mean,
a lot of
there's a
sense.
lot of boundaries. There's a lot of boundary issues with the Zoid that where they struggle with feeling engulfed too. So, with if you're looking in the eyes of someone who is a lot more confident, the confidence almost makes you aversive because it like kind of engulfs your inconfidence.
Lack of confidence in the words I'm speaking, and the like the feeling of like how true the words I'm speaking are, and some like yeah, like I think I kind of see what you're saying. Like for example, I've had conversations with people in real life where they're saying something that's just like it's just factually incorrect. Like it's just not. There's like they're not taking into consideration a variety of factors when they make a statement, but the look on their face is so um sure about like emotionally sure and declarative about what they're saying that that can be uncomfortable to look at, maybe because they're just like I'm like they're saying it with such fervor, but what they're saying doesn't make any sense to me because it's not. There's so much I could say to be like, no, it's not that simple. So I don't know. I do not like that face, I guess. Active, I'm so glad we'll never meet in real life, man. You're such an angry dude. Like angry with people, man. I've been reading some of your things on there. I'm like, if someone stared at me, I would just be like, oh, that's weird. And then I would just move on. Like, I don't think I would care that much. Or maybe I might stare back. I'd be like, cool. I want to stare, and then we'll just stare.
When you stare into the Zoid abyss, the
The
Zoid
Zoid
abyss
stares
back.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll be that void that stares back. But like, um, I've played stare chicken with people in the past, like where someone's staring at me for whatever reason, and I'll notice, and then I'll just look at them. I'll just look through them, but I'll look in their direction. I'll just kind of look through them, and then they get uncomfortable and stop looking at me, and I think that's funny. Um, but here, verbally speaking is very laborious to me. I'm engaged in conversation. I'm truly engaged. Okay. All right. I'm wondering because I'm wondering how people don't stare for positive reasons. Yeah. What? Yeah. People can stare for positive reasons.
That's just like, what do you mean they can't?
I mean, like you can stare at
Not
something.
you, but like,
you can stare at something because it's beautiful to you.
yeah, like that's just
Or
wrong.
something gives you awe, or something's interesting about their attire or their demeanor. There's a lot of positive reasons you can stare at somebody. That aren't like, I'm
There's
gonna
also a lot
fight
of mutual
you.
reasons. What if you're just staring at somebody and then you realize you were staring at somebody because you were just staring into the space in front of you?
That's just kind of zoning out. I gotten people get weird about that. Like I'm not even looking at them. Like, what are you looking at? I'll be like, what?
Were you like zoning
Well,
out his chest or something?
Yeah. Well, I was just zoning out in a general direction. And then I'll notice that somebody thinks I'm staring, and then I'll be like, oh shit. And then I'll like look away.
one of the reasons that I personally struggle with, like, I don't struggle with eye contact. I do it pretty frequently. And I've been, even my mother praised me how easily I was able to make the other person feel engaged in the conversation they're having with me. Apparently, I just something I picked up really easily on. But one of the things that makes it so exhausting that it took me a long time to figure this out. But for the same reason why active research is saying you assume that people don't stare for positive reasons, that is something that I have to consciously keep in my active memory when I'm in a social situation, amongst many other variables.
Okay, so if
also
someone's
happening
staring,
at the
what's
same
your
time.
knee-jerk reaction or thought?
There's like 17 of them. It depends on the situation.
Oh, okay. Well, it's because you're saying you have to keep that in mind. What do you mean by that?
It's when I'm in a situation,
Yeah.
I have to. It feels as though I have to like completely like rush to understand the cognition of the person in front of me or the people around me and how they would perceive me and how to navigate that perception, which can be a myriad of things that completely change from person to person.
But are
But
they
there's
usually
like
negative?
usually
And
some
you have
average.
to remember it could be positive? Is that what you're saying you have to remember?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I don't have like a blanket one size fits all perception. There's a bunch of averages, so I might be like biased to think, oh, is it this average? And then I realize it's not.
Mm.
But just the very fact that I feel so compulsive, or I'm so compulsed. There's a word, I don't know, to do this thing is because I feel like if I don't do that, then I am now the other person will not ever be able to understand what I think, and I feel outcasted amongst nearly everybody I would meet in that same manner. Like if I make a mistake and they perceive me wrong, they will push forward that perception as fact, and I won't have like I'm a guilty until proven innocent
What's the fear of that?
kind of situation.
What's the
I
discomfort with
think that's a lot more deep rooted that I'm able to kind of parse out on the spot right now.
that? Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it can be persecutory, but also other times it could be it's just genuine, like I can't communicate to this person unless I figure everything out and I have to do all of the work to figure it out. It's not necessarily that there's a direct consequence, it makes things difficult if I don't.
Yeah, that's
But it
true.
will always make things difficult if I don't.
Yeah, I was just that was starting to make me think of some of the difficulties that I've had in the past when it comes to conversation. Growing up, and even now, I would say if I don't, because there's a lot of things that I can do amongst like the Zoids online and stuff, and just internet people, since who cares, that I can do, um, that would be problematic oftentimes in my, I guess, more immediate human communication and stuff. And one of those things would be this sort of intuitive disinterest with the fact that I'm talking with someone, and more of a concentration on the fact that I'm talking on what is being discussed. Like, what is being conversed about matters more to me than who I'm having it with and how I'm having it. And what they're reacting emotionally to it. It's in like I'll get really into a conversation, and I will make the mistake that the person, oh, I've had this happen so many times. I will make the mistake that the person I'm communicating with is just as interested in the topic they brought up as I am. And I will get more fixated on the topic and the conversation that's being had about the topic and the analysis and the back and forth. And I'll kind of temporarily sort of forget who I'm actually talking to. It's like it stops mattering. Like it won't matter if it's like, a family member, or if it's some new person I met when I was in college and they brought up a topic, and or if it was a group discussion that was kind of facilitated to happen that way, or if it's
So, but how does the screw up happen, or how do things go off the rail?
well, because
there?
I get really into the conversation, and they're obviously like not about it. They're not that interested.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I get like there's more fervor and interest, and I'll want to like ask more questions, and then bring up more aspects about it. And at some point they've already lost interest. They were more just making a comment that they were like casually making, or sometimes they're actually in the business of like wanting to talk to me because, I don't know, maybe I said something they thought was interesting, or maybe the way I speak or do something they thought, oh, that's an interesting guy, I want to talk to him, and then they just use that as an in to talk to me. But I obviously don't give a shit about that. And so,
but then like kind of what Withers is saying, so what? Like what's the point?
Well,
no, he's just saying he's boring and whatever have you.
Well,
I meant like
it causes
there
problems.
Yeah, but like what kind of problem would it cause?
Oh, well, the other person,
people
will make assumptions that I'm just like, like love hearing myself talk. Oh, he must be in love with himself. He must think he's so smart. He must think this. He must think that. There's a lot of assumptions that are being made.
Are the problems like that are they usually persecutory like that?
They'll get like, or there's times where people get like actually like mad or frustrated with me because like I guess they're probably sending signals they think I should pick up about how they're not, like, they don't want to talk about it anymore, and or they're not interested in going that in depth in it. And I don't know. And so then some people get annoyed, or they just like make an awkward excuse to like walk away or leave. And then I'm just kind of like, huh? And I'm left kind of blue-balled because I'm like, I thought this was an interesting discussion. I thought some of what they said was interesting, and what? And then they like.
Is it a problem that happens?
It's a
Not
problem.
super huge problem, but it's a problem. Yeah.
Well, it's a problem in my head because then I'm just kind of left there, like, oh man,
Yeah.
I want to continue.
It's a
I want it to
disordering of his lived
continue.
life experience.
I
Yeah.
want to continue talking about this. Like, you're gone. now.
I'm very in the meanwhile of you talking about this, I am like running like 100 different calculations, comparing and contrasting my experiences as well. So that's why I'm asking these questions.
No, sure. But like, yeah, I'll just get like annoyed because I'm like, what did I do this time? Like, I'll get annoyed with like, not so much myself, but with the situation, because I'll just think immediately like, not again. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was the distinction.
Like,
Normally,
really, this
I
again?
would internalize that, and I would see that as a problem with myself.
Well, I would just get
That was
annoyed
my
with the problem. Yeah,
paradigm.
like why it occurs. Yeah, like I wouldn't be like, oh, I fucked it up again. Damn it, X. Like, it would just be more like, why do things have to be like this? Why can't they just, I don't know, just tell me they're fucking not interested, so I don't fucking waste my time getting into the breadth of the topic. It's fucking damn it.
Yeah, they just don't want to hurt your feelings or whatever.
Yeah,
the
but that
fuck
wouldn't hurt
else.
my
They just
feelings, but they don't know that.
I know,
So,
right. Well, it's because
Fuck.
we're Zoids. It would hurt a normie's feelings. That's the thing.
Yeah, well,
They're trying to protect normies. It's the normie protection field.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's the same problem I get for when I have a conversation and I play any kind of like context pushing or devil's advocate, or not even like, because I'm not trying to be or I'll get accused of being like, oh, you're always just trying to play devil's advocate, and I'm like, no, I'm just always trying to like what's it called, take into consideration a variety of factors, and me apparently bringing up those factors is me playing devil's advocate. So I'm like,
Yeah, it's you advocating for them, supposedly. Yeah, I know. I run.
Yeah, that happens to me. That used to happen to me constantly, and I'm like, yeah, but what about these conditions? And these people believe this, and what is their? How does that conflict with that? And blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, that kind of stuff. That's another thing. Yeah, I'll assume the other person is having the same level of sort of contextually driven conversation as myself, and they're not.
No.
They have like a motivation, an intent, some kind of idea that they're really interested in, just in reinforcing and stuff.
Especially bad in political and religious contexts, etc.
It's almost anything. It's almost fucking anything. Anything subjective for sure, but I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know how I got here. If hold on, let me see chat. Just meeting someone's on. What is it? Contact can trigger a fair bit of panic in me, which usually results in me feeling threatened. It often results in me making kind of aggressive eye contact, more forceful, staring rather than just meeting someone's eyes. It's not quite as much of a problem now. It used to be a big problem. I'm more of a glancing rather than sustaining contact. He just glance periodically. It's the same as eye contact, effectively. Oh, you said something. What did you say?
He was giving them the gunslingers eye contact.
Yeah.
Staring them down.
But yeah, but I guess that would be a problem. You know, what if part of the reason they lose interest or get weirded out with me is because I'm not making eye contact? And what if it has less to do with the topic and more to do with the eye contact issue?
That would be funny, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, because maybe I just look like a
But that
lunatic.
sounds to me. That sounds to me like you're meeting, because I don't have that same experience. I generally have positive social experiences.
So fucking weird. I don't know how you do.
Yeah, but like I generally, despite having positive social experiences, I am very in my own head. So I like kind of have these constructed paradigms I've given to myself that were hard to like kind of bash out of.
You talk to like regular people, like you talk to people in real life the way
On the
you
regular,
talk,
yeah.
no, like the way you talk here.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Same way.
I bless you, because like I have no idea how that fucking how you're not getting.
I don't know. It just
more like
Yeah, I
pushback
know,
and
right?
shit, because like
Mm.
yeah, your cadence, the way you speak about things and stuff wouldn't be like pretty. It wouldn't be like, oh, that's just like at best people would think, oh, he's just kind of a some kind of like book nerd or something.
Be patient.
so yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like why do I in particular have good experiences and you have bad ones,
Oh, I
and
have
how
so
often
many bad
are
ones.
both like how often are the prevalencies for
But
either,
you said
and
you're
like
paying
what are the
attention
causes
to
of
what the
them?
other people are saying, how they're behaving, how they're reacting, and then you're making adjustments.
So angst is not doing that. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I know
So
how to
is
do
it
that, but I sometimes forget to or stop caring, or I just don't want to because it's too much work and I don't want to do it.
So I would just bring something up just right quick if I could,
Yeah.
just to interject, and I'll try to keep this brief. But I went over today with 4 people in the voice chat. That one of the psychologists online had brought up that schizoids are in love with things internally inside of their noggin in our rich inner world and what have you, way more than we are out to the things outside of us.
Yeah,
And
well,
so
that's a no-brainer.
yeah, concepts not you would like the
Right.
concept of helping someone would mean more to you than the person you're helping. Yes.
Right, and so the
Based.
like this could be a manifestation of that sort of a thing, where angst is caring so much more about the concept and all that, and maybe even the concept of the person that's there in front of him that he's having the discussion with, than
Yeah.
he is with the
Or, yeah,
actual
that's
person.
probably.
There, so.
Yeah, but that's
Mhm.
because I don't really need that in return. So it's not intuitive for me to do
Well,
it.
that too, and I
guess.
just
But I
again,
do it. I'll
don't
do it
try to
if
keep
it's somebody that like I care about or I respect or I want to keep in good favor. Like obviously, like my wife, right? Like
right. So you're doing it there for the ones that you actually have
or my
love
kids
for, and
so.
you have right.
So
Yeah.
I'll make that conscious
So this
effort to be like, oh, this is something that of a requirement that that makes them feel good in regards to their connection to me. Even though
right,
like, I
and
feel
and
really
you have
connected
love
to
for
them.
them.
Yeah, and even though I
Yeah.
feel that connected to them, these are things that I have to consider that they may require for them to feel that connection that I have for them. So
Right.
like instead of it just being in my head or whatever, but
Yeah.
but
So
yeah,
I
yeah,
would just say that I had thought about it, and I brought up to the guys today. If this is the case, and the reason that the schizoid is not having so much love for the things around them is that, and sorry, I maybe didn't finish my last thought, is that the reason that we're not having love for things in real life a lot of times is not just because we're whatever oriented towards the abstract or whatever the kind of developmental thing, is that literally we're so busy being involved in loving the things that are internal to us that basically like our stamina bar in like a video game, a love stamina bar is just constantly depleted. We're just constantly putting all that love stamina, all the love that we
But it
can
sounds
into the
so
shit that's
weird
inside.
when you say that. Like the only pushback I have on that is that there's plenty of schizoids that feel like they don't love a single fucking thing, including what's internal. Like they just
Well,
feel
that
like
could very
they're
well be the case as well.
disconnected
That could be
and
the case.
emotionally to like even the stuff. Like they'll be like, there's a handful of things I enjoy, but even using the word love would be like a stretch.
Right, and
And
so
to
for some
me,
individuals, you might be right about that. I mean, yeah, this is maybe just generalizing.
Yeah, that's the whole
Um,
anhedonia thing,
and
right?
yeah,
Like,
so-
so
right, so they may be having a severe
somebody's-
anhedonia on top of
yeah,
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
a lot of schizoids deal with anhedonia, so it's just I'm wondering, but anyway, what were we gonna say? Shadow, you were gonna interject.
The only thing that I was going to say was it was more of a side comment, but I thought, in my opinion, the estrangement of themselves through a variety of schizoid factors is kind of what makes them be unable to feel that emotion of love, because they're not very confident people in some aspects. In some other aspects, they can be, but as like a general identity, they're not very confident. So to say that you would confidently love someone without proof of loving that thing that you could objectively see, it's really hard to do that. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying. I'm surprised that exists all that much, but it might possibly be a thing. I don't
If
know
they
about all
had,
the things.
if they had like proof, like if they had an emotion they could feel, or if there was some external thing that could show, like this is what love is, so I could prove, I could show you.
Right. If they
then
also
it
maybe
would-
were having a spontaneous exclamation of love for this thing or the other thing. 'Cause,
Yes.
like a girl just the other day said, "Oh my God, I love your bearded dragon." And another girl said, "Oh my God, I'm obsessed with the bearded dragon." So, I mean, they're having a spontaneous exclamation of love, like as soon as they,
Yeah, but that,
whatever,
or it could
see the
just be a,
dragon or whatever.
or it could just be a fucking figure of speech. Yeah.
Or it could be the
I
very
hear you, but
definition.
no,
A lot
they
of
were
people
very
like
definition-
will say like, "I literally love that movie." It's like, no, you don't.
If they say literally, that kind of gives it away.
I think Angst is underestimating what the normies are actually feeling. I think the normies
Really?
actually literally are feeling
For
this
that
more.
second,
And
for those
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Mhm.
But then
Yeah.
there's the issue of definitions, right? Because what a schizoid would
weird.
define as love is going to be a lot different than what someone else defines as love. And then there's different
Right.
ways,
Correct.
like you could say love this time and then love a different time, and they have different definitions, right?
Yeah.
So
Trudy.
Yeah,
said
I
they get a
totally
party.
understand what you're saying. Yeah. But I was just giving that as an
I
example.
forget what I
of
was
something
even
that-
talking about.
Yeah, that was just them needing proof of the love, and then them not being whatchamacallit, not charismatic, confident enough to assert that they love this thing or that thing. They're having
Oh, I
trouble
remember
finding
what
it
I was
as a
gonna
fact
say.
that they do love it. Yeah, so.
What I think for originally when we were talking about why I have positive experiences, I think I lucked out when it comes to my autism because I find so much insight and nuance and intrigue into the way someone thinks and perceives. So just psychology in and of itself is so fascinating to me.
Right.
And all the ways that I can understand psychology from someone, i.e., listening to them speak, observing their body movements, just conversing with them in general, makes me have positive experiences because it so nicely combines with the fact that it reassures them that I, like, quote unquote care about them, even though I'm doing it for a completely different reason.
Right. It's sort of an interest. You lucked out into having that as an interest, basically.
I think it really is just I lucked out.
Yeah. I understand what you're talking about. I have the same situation. On a whole
That's
lot of different
hilarious,
interests
yeah.
like that. Yeah, so.
Don said, well, Shadow, you got compliments from Don apparently about your vocal abilities.
I saw.
Let me see here. I like this interaction though. Don says, think of normie emotional experience like a kid on Christmas morning. Active says that sounds like a manic experience. Don, and I'm just laughing
I think it's closer to that than you're actually believing.
No, but like I just think it's really funny because then I thought that kids on Christmas morning are having a manic episode.
Right.
It's just really
It's pretty close
funny.
to it. I mean, sometimes, that's close.
Compared to me, yeah. But then I also found it funny that Don used that as a kid on Christmas morning because it made me think about myself on Christmas morning, and I was not manic. So like me on Christmas morning was like, I probably didn't get what I asked for. Or,
yeah, no, I had a lot of that going on. Too.
Or
This is the
like,
80s,
okay,
right?
Can I like open these boxes and then just go back to my room with the things that are probably not going to be the right thing?
My socks, my pants, my new shirt.
Yeah, because for me it was always like all I ever liked growing up was video games and comics, and
right.
All they ever gave me were video games and the wrong video games and the wrong comics.
So, of course, whatever was on sale.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, oh, cool, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
It's like this is fine. It's a con. They're all the same. They're all these.
They're all
the same shit, right? Why am I gonna pay $10 more to this?
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
It's like cool.
Well, not only that though, they might not even add an extra $10
No, well, okay. They might have not had it because my father was
I
financially
know, I know, I
irresponsible,
know. Yeah,
not
yeah,
because
I
they didn't
know.
actually couldn't have actually had it.
Right. Yeah.
Because like me and my wife, dude, no matter how financially like we're doing that year, we make it work. Like we've had bad
Yeah.
years, we've had good years, but we make it fucking work. Like we'll look
That's
for
good
the
to hear.
fucking bargain bin deals and fucking we'll wait for this and we'll like fucking you skimp on something we needed to be able to get the fucking thing. Like
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, the tires can wait. We really need to get this for the kid and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So there's a will, there's a way when it comes to some of it, not all of it, obviously. But yeah, I guess there wasn't will, wasn't a will there on Dad's side of things.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
let's see. Yeah, I don't have novel emotions anymore. Oh, active. Hey, active. I'm curious. Have you ever like, because like other people have thought like, oh, is active research like ASPD or something? I'm like, I don't know about that. The vibe
ASPD. Who the fuck would think they're ASPD?
like antisocial
I
personality
don't get.
disorder.
Yeah, I don't get that vibe at all.
I don't
What?
know. I've heard that because of how like
It's
hostile
out
they
of left
are,
field to me.
misanthropic and hostile, and like like constantly like thinking that people have these like negative intentions toward him and that like he has to defend himself against. But it's interesting because like it reminds me. I was having a conversation. Some of those like responses remind me of a completely different thing, which is what is it? It's ODD. Yeah, opposition. Was it oppositional defiance
Oppositional defiant
defiance
disorder.
disorder? Yeah, yeah. Where like there's always this kind of
Is
like
that even still
nobody
a
tells
thing?
me what to do because I'm gonna do it my way. Don't tell me how to do things, and I didn't do it. It was that guy's fault. He should have been paying attention. That kind of like attitude and perspective, where like people you're like always at odds with most people around you. Um, no, it's definitely still a thing. Very much so. Yes. Very
I
much
didn't know if it like is it a diagnosable?
so. I don't know. It's up there with like stuff
That
like
was my
P.
question.
It's up there.
I was just wondering
It's
if it's more
uncommon and
official.
stuff up there with stuff like PDA and things like that.
Okay.
It's just it's not as like commonly dished out or whatever. But there's like kids that like have it, and they'll initially seem like they are just kids that are kind of like strong headed and don't want to do what they're told, but eventually it becomes a like a problem. Like they're not listening to teachers, they're not listening to anyone. They're
Yeah.
not taking responsibility for impulsive actions that they have. So they'll just be like,
I wonder if ODD
I
can be
want
a
that
more
cookie,
neurotypical form of
I'm gonna eat it.
PDA.
Fuck everybody. No, it's a different kind of thing. They've compared PDA and ODD as well. Like the reasoning for like the reasoning for a lot of PDA, the source is anxiety. With ODD, it's something else. It's like anger, and things like that. So, but yeah, it's like a whole different kind of trigger mechanism, based on what I've read. So, but it's interesting. It's interesting because like the problem with ODD, I guess, is that yeah, if you don't if you don't help these kids with this issue via whatever means early in life, and they don't like learn methods or take advantage of that early life neuroplasticity, they're gonna like likely end up doing crime or violent stuff. uh Not like like psycho kind of shit, but like just violent things. um because of this sort of like, no one tells me what to do, I'm gonna do it how I said, and if you get in my way, well then you know you're the problem kind of perspective. I have extreme anger. I don't know what my problem is. and I kind of don't care because I feel justified. Yeah, that's why. That's what I mean. Active research. That's why you give me ODD vibes. That's the thing about like the ODD peeps. Like they feel really justified about their kind of blaming of others for shit.
And I think what threw me off was ASPD generally is like a very like the lack of empathy, not the absence of empathy, because I don't want to go that far, even if I'm wrong, but the lack of empathy would be so apparent that it's hard not to like it would be you're delusional if you don't notice it. And I don't get that vibe from active research. They're just like I don't get they hate like I don't get they genuinely are indifferent to anybody. I get they're just loud.
Who's just loud?
Which no offense.
Who's
But
just loud? ASPD people?
Active research.
Oh, you're just saying active research is just a loud person?
Yeah, they don't seem like a person with like.
But there's a lot
very
of
diminished
anger. I mean, they said it
empathy.
themselves. They have a lot of anger in the shit they say.
Well,
Like,
that's but like
Sure does.
again, the empathy is the most important thing here, and they never really gave me enough evidence to say the
yeah,
empathy
I know.
is the
That's
most
why I don't think
thing.
I don't think active. I'm not saying active. I'm saying other people have said that to me, and then I've had to tell
And
them I
I'm
don't
telling you
think
why
so.
those other people. I disagree with those other people.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Dude feels justified.
What'd you say, Withers? You were saying
Did you
something?
see his last comment? Active research's last comment.
Yeah, it's funny
He's-
because
so, yeah,
that's why
he
it
feels
gives me.
justified.
Yeah, that's why it gives
What the
me.
fuck does that matter?
No, active definitely
Uh,
is empathy. I've seen they like wholesome things as well. They
Okay.
but they just it's just it reminds me. That's why it reminds me. Just the topic of ODD was in my mind, and I was just thinking about like that kind of stuff. Maybe look into it, active. Maybe it's something that might be of use. But you say you don't care, so maybe it's already maybe it doesn't matter anymore. So,
Yeah.
too many years. So yeah.
Yeah, good enough. I think you are correct, by the way, the chatter.
Oh yeah,
Good
I
enough.
was looking at that too.
Yeah.
That because schizoids don't need, but they also miss out on the feeling. Yeah, it's like cool. Like you don't get like the intense negative emotions as frequently, but you also don't get intense positive ones. So you don't get to feel that like maybe like what there's just talking about that like spontaneous love connection to things.
hmm
Like I
Or
can't.
very rarely, anyway.
Yeah, that's super. I can't imagine the last time that happened. Like even just going back to the stupid thing I was talking about earlier, uh, and I was chatting with Shadow about like remember Shadow I told you that I got that last fucking achievement on that game. Like
Yeah.
even when I got it, and I didn't feel like good. Like I got it and I didn't like feel like yes, I did it. Yeah. Like I didn't like none of that fucking went in my system. Like all I felt was cool. Now I can do something else. like, like mission complete.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've done it, and especially if it runs long, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, like and so like I used to get disappointed when I was younger. I used to like get like, how come this feels so just pointless? What the fuck was I doing this for? But now I'm just like, I'm doing it because of this like conceptual thing. Like I decided that I'm doing all the achievements for this thing because I respect and appreciate this imaginative creation.
Sure.
And so that's what I'm doing. Right. And so
Yeah.
and that's fine. I don't need it to feel good that I got all the achievements. But there's been times where certain achievements I've gotten make me feel good because they're funny and I didn't intentionally get them. So like for example, with Lost in Vivo, when I accidentally got like the most difficult ending, like with all of these extra steps and bullshit, I guess that you're supposed to do, and that's the first ending I got on a blind playthrough. That was funny. Like I was like, that's kind of awesome. Like like there was like when I was playing the KH games, I think what I enjoyed the most was not like defeating the big bad, right? Like the big strongest or big strong boss person. I felt I had more enjoyment when I would do shit that you were like, oh, I never seen that before. I don't even think I didn't know you could.
You
even
did it
do
pretty
that.
often too.
Yeah, like, but that's more fun for me. I'm like, really? That's weird. Okay, cool. Like, I just thought it was normal, but saying it's not, that's interesting. And so, like that, I think I found more enjoyment in than anything else. But I don't know. That's a weird one. That's a weird one. I feel like I have very little control over what I get to enjoy at what given moment. It's kind of like spontaneous and random, which is annoying to not have more consistent. I mean, I have some
But it makes it
consistent.
more fun.
It's crazier, yeah. I have consistent ones. Like, obviously, like hugging up on my wife is a consistent good feel. But
Maybe I should try that if you say it works.
are you gonna come hug up on my wife? As long as
I feel gross just making
as
that
long as
joke.
I get to watch.
Yeah.
Shut up! Shut up!
Yeah,
Shut up!
that
I
gets
already felt
weirder.
gross
Adam's
making
about
that
to be
joke.
giving back rubs all the time, man.
Hey,
He's
shut
all
up.
right.
Oh, Withers, why'd you have to say that? Why'd you say it like
How about you
that?
give us a front rub too while you're at it? Anyway,
No happy endings. All of you get bad
Oh,
endings.
Lord.
bad endings are just
Bad endings.
fingers in the butt. That's what a bad ending is.
No, that would be a good ending to you.
Anyway, so let me see here. I heard
Awful.
Thanks. Check this out at some point. I'm an antisocial with autism. Dr. Becky Spellman. An ASPD with autism? I could see that, but that's rough. Like, I can't. Oh man, just what? Like, that's. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how that would even work. That would be a very unique situation. That must be insanely uncommon. Like, same thing with anyone that's psychotic. It's a sociopath with autism. Sociopath with autism. Because, like, when I think of somebody that says they're a sociopath with autism, and I feel like I've come across people like this at least twice, they'll tell me, "Oh, I'm autistic and I'm a sociopath," and then it'll feel more like they got a diagnosis of some kind of like ASPD or something early in life, and then later in life they were diagnosed with autism, and so then they just kind of go with like, oh well, the way I lack effective empathy makes me ASPD or something, or they'll make these assumptions, right? That based on what the institutions had to say about their behavior and who they are, and then like even when you try to push back on it, be like, well, like, 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 couldn't this lack of connectivity to this particular thing be more than just like, oh, you're a sociopath? Like, isn't there more nuance to this? And they have trouble, like, it's like, no, this is the system. I've constructed my system around this idea that I've been told about me being ASPD by one psychologist at some point. And so now that it's like part of their framework, they're not comfortable with having to reframe it or question it, because then it might like fuck with their very much already built thing. It's kind of interesting. She described especially vindictive behaviors in childhood. Throughout childhood, yeah, I lost count how many times my family mentioned my lack of impact. Yeah, but like, it's interesting because like I know autistic kids can like hit and stuff when they're younger, but it's not like oftentimes it's not like a vindictive thing. It's like a response to what they feel is threatening or overwhelming. And obviously as children, they just don't have the means to control their impulses. And if those impulses are kind of that, manifest, and then the reasons for that are not understood by the parents or the adults in the room, it's gonna look like that kid just hit that kid for nothing, right? It must be crazy. They just fucking push that kid for no fucking reason, And obviously there is a reason. It could have been because that kid was making a fucking sound that they wouldn't stop making incessantly. And it was like fucking with their sensory shit or fucking with them really bad. And they also couldn't like figure out how to tell the person how to like to make them stop. And so then they just impulsively went like, "Oh, stop." And then they pushed them. And then they're, you know what I mean? And then it's like, from an outside point of view, it just looks like, oh, that's a violent kid that just has no regard for other people's, like, this or that.
Dude, I don't care about anybody. I only help those I want for my own selfish desires.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I ever care about.
Yeah.
I don't care about the person I'm
cool,
helping
man.
ever.
Cool, Shadow.
Like, the only reason why I'm here is just for myself.
Yeah, dude. So
You know?
cool. So cool, so based. Anyway, shut the fuck up, Shadow. Why do you always do that? Anyway,
Because it's true.
yeah, and that's perfectly fine. But you've said this a million times. It's starting to get old.
Yeah. Oh, it's starting to get old?
Yeah, it's starting
Well,
to get
guess
old.
what? You're starting to get old too. Maybe we should throw you out too.
Let's see here. Like a game versus more achievement, some parallels.
Thanks. Have I ever told?
Yeah, I'm really bad at fucking video games. Yeah.
I find enjoyment from
Repetition.
reusing concepts and repetition.
I do not. I do them as needed, and if they feel fun at that moment, but yeah, I don't know.
I like building towers.
I know you do.
I like revisiting those same towers as well.
Can I climb the tower faster this time? With less weapons? Anyway, let's see here.
Sounds like a speedrun challenge.
Oh yeah. Fucking, all I know is that based on Discord, all Shadow does all day is play idle games.
Dude, I started another one and it's really fun.
No, I saw like
Oh
the
my God.
incremental hero or some shit. I'm like,
Yeah,
what the
I'm
fuck?
having so much fun with this one because it reminds me of like a lot of
It's like the name of a
school
fucking
RPGs.
Korean manhwa or some shit. The
Yeah,
incremental-
it's that's like the theme, right? There's
Yeah.
like a lot of like Japanese
liked that
like
one
RPG
game.
themes, and it's so much fun.
did
Shadow's got like
Did
8
you ever
idlers
did
going
you
at
ever
one
like
time.
that one game called and it was fun while it lasted, called like 30-Second Hero? Have you ever played that?
I've never heard
There
of
was
that
this
before.
game called I think it was called Half-Second Hero or some shit like that, where
Sounds like me.
yeah, and so the game is like, you know, pixel graphics or whatever, but in like old art, you know, Final Fantasy style, but there's a timer that's like, you know, 30 seconds or something, and like a lot of the things you have to do them within like very narrow time frames, and it's like you're just like literally it's like, oh no, the world's gonna end in 30 seconds, what do we do? And then like
Oh, I've heard of that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and
No,
then
I've
like
never
your
played
little
it.
character gets blessed by like this time goddess to help you save the world in 30 seconds, and so you have to like really manage your like even your slowed down time to
It's
make
just
sure,
a Jack Reacher story, but for anime.
yeah, and you're just trying to fucking make sure, like, you know, you're like leveling, but the leveling's like it's like level level, and and you're like putting on gear super fast and like stupid shit like that. I don't know. I think it was Half-Second Hero. I had it on the PSP. It was pretty fun. And then there's that other
Oh
one.
no, what I'm talking about is a different game that was more recent. So maybe that's not.
No, I know you're not talking about the same thing. And then there's that other game where it's the same kind of graphics, but the map's always scrolling to the left, and you have to like do all the RPG shit while not getting caught in the falling, like the scrolling away map. And so you like walking around taking turns and stuff and doing shit, but you can't be inside like of a dungeon that on the side, like once it scrolls off, you have to like keep moving, and it because you game over if you scroll off. Yeah, it's like fucking weird shit, weird min-maxing nonsense. Trap 2024. Have you been looking at my tabs? No, I'm kidding. All right, so no, I haven't seen Trap 2024 active research. Get out of my
You say
computer.
that, and I immediately think of mice and cheese.
Oh, like well, like Mousetrap, like the board game Mousetrap too.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking. I just started thinking about there was a game called Great. I have brought this up before.
Oh, I know what you were thinking
Grape
about,
Escape.
but let's talk
Yeah.
about something
Make them,
else.
break them, any factory, smash them, bash them into history.
Minute sounds familiar. Is that the one I was thinking of?
A minute.
Minute.
Mm.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I liked Half Second Hero. That shit was fucking.
That is exactly the game I was thinking of.
Half Second Hero was like fucking ADHD friendly for sure.
Minute has a stupid little guy, so I like it even more.
All right, guys. Well, it looks like I'm good. Oh, you guys are good. As usual, chat. Thanks for hanging out and having your own internal conversations usually in the chat, which is funny. I like to read them. Especially when while Withers is talking.
Gives him something to do.
Yeah, it gives you something to do while you proselytize about
Yeah.
men's health. Let's see here. I still tell Withers, start your own channel, become like one of those weird men guru things. Some fucking thing. Walking
You
around
totally
that
could
fucking
make so much money with this. You know all the fucking the
He knows
hacks. and
all
shit.
that
You know the
fucking lore. He
lingo.
knows all
I
that
know.
fucking bullshit.
You know the lingo.
lore, all the
I
lingo and the
know.
low, the bros, and just wear a fucking suit, clean yourself up, put on some YouTube channels. You could be the next Coach Red Pill and go die in the Middle East or something.
I know, right?
But
Dude, I was just now watching some black pill shit where they were fucking making fun of the red pill guys and saying, "Oh, they're just coping," and they're not very good at what they do and all
the
this
Black
shit.
Pill guys are coping too. They're all
Yeah.
coping. Everything's cope.
That's what they're well, they at least admit to. They cop to it. So
They
they're
they
saying,
cop to their cope.
right. Yeah, they say, yeah. Well, at least we say we're
That's just them
coping. We know
coping
we're
with their
coping.
cope.
I know, right? It's all
It's
all cope all the way down.
copium forever. It's always all cope. All
Uh,
right.
yeah.
I'm for Atari generation out of my universe with no games in it. Oh man. Well, I am not pre-Atari generation, but I am Atari generation. In case, all right. Thanks a lot, guys. If you
Fucking-
support my shit, please do so on Patreon. It's always like the best bet for me. Direct PayPal's fine too. Donations like that are helpful. And it gives me as usual, like I said, it gives me an excuse to tell my wife like, oh no, it's good I'm doing it, because like it's basically paying for like have you noticed I haven't what do you call it, like I haven't been like asking for like, oh, I need to get this subscription for this thing, or I need to get this thing. It's like, no, it's because it's being like helped with that kind of stuff too. So she's like, oh, okay, cool. And thanks to some of the people out there that occasionally like fucking buy me shit on Steam. Like sometimes you guys buy me a game or something, which is also helpful because I am a fucking hobby nerd. So getting free shit like that is cool, because then I don't have to spend or want to spend any actual money. And I can tell.
Yeah, it's fuel for the angst machine.
It's fuel for the angst machine. It keeps me alive. The ADHD angst machine. Novelty machine. All right, guys. Peace out. And as usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy day.